finally finished our 5-bedroom home. All that's left is to invite my parents to live with us. But as I reached for my phone to call my dad, my husband stood defiantly before me and said, "I'll live with my parents in this house. You and your parents are just in the way, get out." I was shocked. "What are you saying? I built this house to live with my parents. You know what? I'm your husband and the eldest son. Isn't it natural I live with my parents? Living with your parents would just suffocate me." He wouldn't listen to anything I said and ended up throwing my belongings outside and dragged me out as well. That's when I realized he was serious about living with his parents. I sighed. "Fine, I'll leave." And a month after I left, my husband faced hell. My name is Lucy. I work at an IT company. My husband Jude works at a well-known company too, and considering our combined incomes, we could have lived modestly without worries. We met at a mixer, both invited by friends, and found we shared similar views. Neither of us was much interested in marriage when we were younger, but as adults, we felt the need to marry and provide peace of mind to our parents. However, we both lacked in romantic experiences. Jude and I were clueless about how to start a serious relationship. After the mixer, we talked about our shared concerns and realized we were in the same boat. Eventually, Jude said he liked how well we got along. "I'm not sure how to start a serious relationship, but if I were to marry, it'd be someone like Lucy, who shares my values." That moment, I realized that what matters in a serious relationship is understanding between the two involved, not adhering to some set of rules. So, we started our relationship, agreeing on our values. We dated well, sharing the same values. But neither of us realized how different dating and marriage life could be. We never considered if I would be accepted by Jude's family. 2 years into our relationship, we introduced each other to our parents. I visited Jude's family home to formally announce our engagement. Jude had his parents and sister named Lily, who is 3 years younger than him. It seemed I wasn't quite liked by his parents and Lily. When I went to greet her, Lily stared at me and then suddenly laughed. That smile seemed to say, "I'm superior to you as a woman." At that time, I thought I might be misinterpreting her expression, but after marrying Jude, Lily's attitude became overt. Initially, Jude and I saved up for our home, living in an apartment. But Lily would visit our apartment almost every week. When I returned from work, Lily was already inside, chatting with Jude. "Lily, why are you here?" I asked, only to have Lily tear up in front of Jude, exclaiming, "What? Lucy, are you saying I'm an eyesore for being here?" Both Jude and I were taken aback. Jude tried to calm her down, saying Lucy didn't mean it like that, and the reason I was there was explained by Jude. He explained that Lily's company is close to our apartment, and she visits often because she wants to see Jude. Hearing this, I thought, they really are close. That's nice, but it seemed Lily was as intent on excluding me as she was fond of Jude. Every time she came over, she'd chat with Jude, effectively sidelining me from their conversation. I tried to be understanding, thinking it's natural for siblings to talk, but whenever I tried to join in or ask Lily something, she'd act as if I'd hurt her. She'd accuse me, saying, "You just don't like me, do you? That's why you can say such thoughtless things." So, I chose to stay silent whenever Lily was around. However, Lily would join us for dinner and stay till about 9 p.m. before finally leaving. During these times, I'd quietly do household chores. I couldn't help but think, if she feels I dislike her, why does she keep coming to our apartment? Then, not just Lily, but my mom started visiting too. Unlike Lily, she seemed eager to talk to me, bombarding me with questions. But her inquiries weren't out of interest or an attempt to build trust. They were probing. "Lucy, what university did your parents graduate from?" I've never really asked them about it. I'll ask them next time." "Oh, I see," she laughed. "No need to bother. It's not like they went to any prestigious university, right? They might even be high school graduates. I don't think that's the case, but whatever. Knowing what university your parents graduated from won't change anything. It'll only make you feel more miserable." With that, my mom looked down on my parents as uneducated. And she mocked me as well. "Have you ever been abroad?" Me. "I'm not great with planes. So, I've never been abroad." "I thought so," she laughed. "You probably can't speak any other languages, so you wouldn't understand anything abroad. Plus, without any knowledge about traveling overseas, you'd be too scared to even try. You're just afraid you won't be able to come back, aren't you?" I'm sure you'd get stopped at the airport for not knowing what you can take abroad. Well, I know there are restrictions on what you can bring into a country from watching TV, but that doesn't mean I should be mocked for not knowing. A year into my marriage, while our savings for a house grew, my peace of mind shattered. One day, I came home to find my Mill and Lily already there. But strangely, Jude was missing. Where's Jude? Did he go shopping? I asked, only for Lily to say, he hasn't come back yet. We just got here before you. By the way, I'm starving, so hurry up and make dinner. If it's not ready in 30 minutes, I'll go cry to your brother, she said. I was truly taken aback. This apartment is where Jude and I live together. Only Jude and I are supposed to have the keys to this apartment. How did you get a key? My Mill responded, Jude told me to make a duplicate key. That's why I can enter whenever I like. My face involuntarily tightened. Until now, at least Jude was here, and he would stop the utterly unreasonable remarks from Lily and my Mill. But despite their hostility towards me, Jude allowed them to have a duplicate key. And he did it without consulting me. I could clearly see Jude's farts had changed. Sure enough, until Jude came home, Lily and my Mill took their time mocking me and talking about how much they disliked me. Listening to their relentless talk, I understood why they were treating me so poorly. In short, it wasn't because I did something to offend them. No matter what kind of person I was, those two would have treated me poorly. And the reason they treated me poorly was because of my family background. According to Lily and my Mill, their family has been respected as landowners in Jude's local area for generations. That's why they thought that Jude, being the eldest son, should marry someone of a certain status. Apparently, they expected him to marry someone like a CEO's daughter or a girl from a similarly land-owning family. I remember, when I went to Jude's family home to introduce myself, my Mill asked me a few questions. They were about what kind of house my parents lived in, and whether my parents owned any land. I answered that my parents live in an apartment and they don't own any land, because that was the truth. I couldn't have answered otherwise. Now that I think about it, I remember my Mill sighed softly after hearing my answers. Was that not a mistake? Anyway, because my family is of an ordinary background, it seemed like Lily and my Mill thought I wasn't suitable for Jude and tried to worsen our relationship. Hey Jude, I think Lily and your mom don't like me. Why did you tell them to make a spare key? When I gathered the courage to ask Jude this, he nonchalantly said, well, it seems like Mom and Lily have a bad opinion of you. I thought it'd be good for everyone to get to know each other better and become closer. Good idea, right? He said. I wished he had consulted with me first. It just doesn't seem right not to. Well, we're in the middle of building our dream home. You don't have to worry, Lucy. Are you sure? There were plenty of worries, but at that time, we were pushing forward with plans to build our dream home. We were planning to build a 5-bedroom house and live there with my parents. That was the plan we had in place. Being an only child, and with my mom having had mobility issues for several years, I wanted us to live together. Jude agreed with a smile when I mentioned it. Once we started living with my parents, it's likely that Jude's mom and Lily wouldn't just pop over to our place with my parents around. Just have to endure until then. I thought I just had to endure until the house was finished and we moved in. However, I started to feel Jude's affection for me waning. Increasingly, he preferred going to his parents' house for dinner rather than coming home to eat, and when he did come home, our conversations were brief. It felt like Jude was avoiding me. Then, I got a call from my Phil. He told me that, in my absence, my Mill, Lily, and Jude had been bad-mouthing me. Jude, who once seemed happy to be married to me, had now, it seemed, been influenced by Lily and my Mill to treat me poorly. I didn't know what to do about this change. Yet, I thought moving into our new home with my parents would resolve any misunderstandings, no matter what Lily and my Mill said. But reality didn't follow that script. Our 5-bedroom home was finally ready. All that was left was to invite my parents to live with us. But as I reached for my phone to call my dad, Jude blocked my way, saying, I'll live with my parents in this house. You and your parents are just in the way, get out. I was shocked. What are you talking about? I built this house to live with my parents. You know what? I'm your husband and the eldest son. Isn't it natural I live with my parents? Living with your parents would just suffocate me. But I'm an only child, and my mom has trouble walking. You said you were concerned about that. You agreed we'd live with my parents. That was before I knew you'd been bad-mouthing Mom and Lily. What? The ones who have been insulting and mocking me are my Mill and Lily, along with Jude. I haven't done anything like that. Did your Mom and Lily tell you that? The ones being insulted and mistreated are me. Don't lie to me. I've heard everything from Mom and Lily. It's 2 against 1, so it's clear who's telling the truth. This is absurd. He wouldn't listen to anything I said and ended up throwing my belongings outside, dragging me out as well. Anyway, this house isn't for you and your parents. It's for me and my family. Outsiders like you aren't welcome. After all that, I finally understood he was serious about living with his parents. Fine. I'll leave. But before I go, sign this divorce form. If you do that, I'll leave without making a fuss. We have separate bank accounts, so there's no need for a financial settlement, right? That's right. It'd be a waste to give you money, so that's fine. Bring me the divorce form. I'll sign it immediately. The Jude who used to look at me kindly now had the same greedy smile as his Mom and Lily. I couldn't stay with someone like that. We ended up getting a divorce. I told my parents about the divorce immediately. They said they could stay in their apartment until the end of the month, so I decided to temporarily move in with my parents. And after that, we moved into a new apartment. A month after the divorce, Jude was about to face hell. I wasn't surprised because my ex Phil had told me this would happen, but Jude, who hadn't realized what kind of hell he had invited, seemed quite panicked. First off, the plan was for me, my parents, and Jude to live in a 5-bedroom house, with each of us contributing to the mortgage payments. The mortgage account was in Jude's name. However, Jude was shocked to receive a call from his bank saying the mortgage payment couldn't be processed. Even if he was such a despicable person in his attitude, he worked for a well-known company. So, he wasn't poorly paid. He had the capacity to pay the mortgage on his own. His big mistake was handing over the family credit cards linked to his account to his Mom and Lily. From what I heard from my ex Phil, his mom was born into an owning family and was spoiled growing up, so she had a habit of spending carelessly without worrying about the household finances. It's clear what would happen if you give such a person a credit card. And as for Lily, she seemed to have been caught having an affair with a married man, whose wife had found out and demanded alimony. So, his mom used a credit card for her splurges, and Lily used his card for her monthly alimony payments. Jude had given out the bank account info and family cards long before our divorce, so the savings were dwindling. A month after they started living in the new house, it was discovered that the account was empty because the mortgage payment could not be processed. Jude must not have imagined this would happen. I received a message from Jude out of the blue. It read, "Lucy, my brightest star. I was deceived by 2 wicked witches. After all, I want to live with you, my star. The 2 wicked witches are still squatting in this house. If you come back, we can drive them away with the power of our love. So, come back to our love nest right away." I checked the sender again when I first read the email. It wasn't spam, but genuinely from Jude. It was disgusting. He kept messaging me, so I contacted my ex Phil. Truth be told, while my ex Mill and Lily were hostile towards me, my ex Phil seemed to have had enough of their personalities, and we were forming a united front. I decided to divorce Jude when he messed up, and my ex Phil was going to cut ties with the family. For that, we were sharing information with each other. After contacting my ex Phil, a message arrived shortly. "Why aren't you replying to my messages? You're in touch with Dad, aren't you? If you can talk to Dad, please ask him to help me. I'm about to have my phone confiscated. Moreover, Dad is going to cut ties with me, Lily, and Mom. I don't have any money left, and the only person I can rely on is Dad." However, I thought to myself, I don't care, and didn't reply. After a while, my ex Phil contacted me saying, "I confiscated Jude's phone. I deleted your phone number from his phone. I plan to give him a brand new phone with a blank contacts list." I received a message saying, "This should keep you from being pestered anymore." I thanked my ex Phil and told him I hope he can successfully cut ties with those 3, ending our communication. As for what happened to the 3 of them afterward, I found out through a friend who had set up a mixer. Despite moving into a 5-bedroom home, Jude couldn't make the mortgage payment in the first month. His mom and Lily took away all the cards he could use to access his money, and even changed the account where his salary was deposited. Jude then told the two, "If you're not going to work, I won't keep you in this house. You must bring in $600 a month to stay." And somehow, Lily and his mom managed to scrape together the money to pay him each month. The family that once got along well gradually started fighting non-stop over money, yelling at each other so loudly that the neighbors have started to complain. As for me, I'm now living happily with my parents. The three of us live together, the complete opposite of the constantly quarreling Jude and his family. My dad even arranged for me to meet a reliable man through a trusted acquaintance. This time, I'll make sure to properly scrutinize the man and his family before getting married.